There we go. I think we are live. Good morning, everybody. And I will start off by discussing the mug. This is the mug. My girlfriend likes cheesy things, which include pizza and this mug. So there you go. Let's see if we can keep up with the comments. This is obviously going to get tricky as the day goes on. I still don't know where this slow chat button is. If someone could tell me where that is, that could be quite useful, but I haven't managed to find it. I did have a look around this morning. Can I right click on here? No, it's not there. I don't know where slow chat is, but it's difficult to keep up with the comments at the best of times. Anyway, I'm not late. How dare you? Am I going to learn welding after getting the Tercel Seaside Garage? Yeah, but plans are obviously all over the place at the moment. I'm not sure what's going to happen. So we'll see. Oh, sound isn't working for Simon. Sorry, Simon, you'll have to refresh the page. I assume it's working for everyone else. I presume no one else is saying there's no sound. So, do you ever hear about the Perodua Kalisa? We do. We got Perodua Kalisas in the UK. I'm not a huge fan. I would rather have a Canary, but that's my thought. Thoughts on the Fiat 126? Not a huge fan, to be honest. They're a bit rough and ready, but stick a Steyr Pooch engine in, and then I'll be very interested indeed. Big shout out for Tuk. Yes, I miss Tuk. I'm so glad I had my little Raz out in Tuk when I got back to the UK. That could have been really bad times if I hadn't been able to do that. Oh, hold on. Mrs. Merchandise is messaging me. Oh, that's interesting. Interesting news there. It sounded like you're inside a bottle. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm on the laptop, so laptop sound quality isn't the best. I don't think I can do anything about that. I could try the external mic, but I don't think that's the right one for this computer. Bear with me, folks. We'll see if we can improve this and make the sound a little bit better. I've got cables everywhere, you'll be unsurprised to learn. And let's see if this works. It might kill the sound entirely. But if I can make the sound better, then obviously that would be good. I'll stick that in there.
And has that made any difference? Is that better sound? Is that good sound? Let me know. I'll see if I can find a clip so I don't have to hold the thing. Oh, that's better. Okay, there we go. Right, bear with me. I'm very good at this professional streaming stuff, aren't I? Right, let's get that mic cable off there. Try and put this cable on here. I need more of these clips. That's where I'm going wrong, really. So apologies for any rustling at the moment you might be hearing. Ever professional, but that's the beauty of a live broadcast. We can change it and make it better along the way. Right, that's in there. I shall attach that to the new hoodie design for I'm wearing. And of course, that's the main point of this stream, is to reveal the new merchandise. And here it is. Graham has done amazing quality job again. Look at this. Is that beautiful, or is that beautiful? So this is the new Betty design, the hub that goes global. Where else can you get a stunning bit of work? This beautiful design of the Ford Fairmont AU. It's lovely, and you see we've got tea, we've got a typewriter. It's all the good time. So we've got hoodies, and indeed under here I'm also wearing the t-shirt as well. Version of the design, a bit larger on the t-shirts. So these are available at the Hubnut store, hubnut.org. And Rachel had just messaged me to say one's been sold already. So someone's having a sneaky look around. So that's good news. So yeah, the hoodies are £30 each because they're a bit bulky and a bit heavy, plus postage. The t-shirts just £12. Where's the Triangle of Doom? There is no Triangle of Doom on the Ford Fairmont AU. That's how good the Ford Fairmont AU is. So it's all the good times. But yeah, really pleased with this. It's not Mount Fuji. It's Mount Taranaki over towards New Plymouth in New Zealand. No fluffy dice, I'm afraid, but we'll get the fluffy dice in one day, perhaps. Shipping to New Zealand is no problem. Rachel's been really busy on the shop and has rejigged the postage rules, so it's now based on weight. So we were selling ourselves short on postage shipping to some places because it's so difficult to get it tied into the different rules of the post office. But yeah, Rachel's revisited all that, so some items will be cheaper to send, some might be a little bit more expensive, but we can send anywhere in the world with our lovely merchandise. We will have mugs. We were hoping to have mugs. Oh, thank you, Ali Mac Mechanical. Teabag fund has been topped up. But yeah, we were hoping to get the mugs in. The mugs haven't quite got there. We've got a few design issues. This design doesn't quite fit on a mug. So we'll get those in, hopefully before too long. And that'll be good to see as well. So that's all good times. What car do I have immediate access to at the moment? Asks Simon Parsons. Yeah, we were having a little chat in the side box before this live stream began. So to quickly recap on my personal circumstances, I'm here in West Wales with my girlfriend. We're obviously locked down. Sorry, 4XL, David. I think we've got t-shirts in 4XL. Hoodies only go up to 3XL. And sadly, the 3XL has grey rather than blue. But yeah, the only car I have here is the Citroen GSA. And I would love to do some tinkering with the GSA, but it doesn't need much apart from a speedo cable. And sadly, DHL and the supplier I used in Germany are conspiring between them to not deliver the item to me. So I'm hoping that'll arrive on Monday. I might actually be able to do some tinkering and get the video. Any chance of doing hoodies in a different color than black? Not at the moment. Black just works with our design, so I'm aware not everyone loves black. Oh, thank you for the milk donation, Simon. We would like to do more colors on product lines, but we've got limited space and limited resources. We do all the merchandise ourselves. We get all these hoodies and t-shirts. Oh, thank you, Will. We get them all done by a company down in Cornwall, Blackwater Studios, who do a great job. I think the quality is really good. I wear this stuff myself all the time. This 2CV hoodie, which is covering these sparkly frocks, has had so much wear, and the t-shirts seem to last well as well. Is this just a massive sales channel? Well, no, but people were after the merchandise, and I'm presenting the merchandise, and I'm quite happy to talk about other stuff now we've got that out of the way. How do you open your 2CV hood clips in the middle? The ones halfway along the roof, you just have to pull the roof. If it's an old roof, they get very tight, Finley, so hopefully that helps. Can we have an MGF? Yeah, let's not go there. Suggesting head gasket failure could be bad news. Is there going to be work done on other? No, Robert, I can't get to my cars. My cars are 50 miles away from where I am. I can't justify driving to them at the moment when we're all in a state of lockdown. So that's very unfortunate. Oops, I made a slight error. Rachel's correcting me. We don't have 4XL t-shirts, I'm afraid. 3XL is the largest in the t-shirts and the hoodies. So sorry about that. We are a bit restricted in terms of sizes. You must have been fond of Betty the Fairmont, says James French. I certainly was. I really was. Scottish car enthusiast, bought a hoodie recently and a t-shirt. Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. What metal music do you like? All sorts. Quite into a bit of metal. Oh, thank you, Declan. That's very kind of you. East Coast Steam wind deflectors, daft or good? I like the idea of wind deflectors because you can have the window open, and in a rainy country you don't get wet. So they work quite well on my Honda SMX, but I did find they obscured my view a bit. Hello from Greece. Mark II or Mark III Cavalier? Oh, difficult. Itchy Boots struggling? Yeah. Itchy Boots is struggling. I do know she's managed to get out of that tiny village she was stuck in. I mean, that was horrible. Where if you haven't seen Itchy Boots' latest video, she's stuck in a really remote village in the middle of nowhere in Peru, and all the locals start turning against her because they think she's bringing coronavirus into the village because she's the only foreigner. Not good at all. Oh, thanks, Francois. A slice of cake, even. Good times. Ali Mac Mechanical, what do you think of the Volkswagen Passat? I'm not a fan of those Passats. I think they're a little bit style over substance. Very good for water leaks. I think they've got ECUs in risky places as well. So the quality isn't quite there for me. Buy another knackered old car in your current locale. It's not a bad idea. I'm not sure I really have parking for it, unfortunately. Yeah, Finley, I miss Ellie and the whole fleet as well. I was so looking forward to getting Ellie back on the road, and it didn't happen. Most hated car modification, probably lowering without thinking. I've seen cars lowered well, and I've seen cars lowered incredibly badly, and it just destroys the car and everything they're about. I don't quite understand it. Hello from lockdown Germany. Yes, hello there. Midnight Toker is not a very nice person. Understand it. Hello from lockdown Germany. Yes, hello there. Midnight Toker is not a very nice person. Still waiting. It's at the garage, but the garage has now gone into lockdown, so no progress there, which is kind of good because I would like to at least be there while they're doing the work. Oh, thanks, Harpsy, to video it and capture it if I can, but we'll see. Best flat 4 engine, Citroen GSA, clearly. Although I do like the Alfa Romeo flat 4s as well. More petrol head hippie. Well, I'm not sure about the petrol head hippie shirts because I don't have the long hair anymore, so it doesn't seem so apt. But we'll see. Bromley pageant, not sure. We'll just have to see what happens. Have you published a list of all the cars you've owned? I've done 2 videos, and I'll have to do a third one at some point because the list keeps moving of my fleet. They can be found, the Hubnut fleet, so you can check that out. How much value is a Mega Jaffa? I don't think I know what one of those is. I'm guessing that's a little French van of some sort, or is that a microcar? Least favourite car? Oh, I don't really like getting into least favourites. I'd rather focus on the positives. Do I want a Citroen Zara? Probably not, to be honest. I'd like to try one because I think I'd like it, but I'm full of cars at the moment. And yeah, can't really take any more on. P6 or CX? Oh, I've got a P6 and DS head-to-head video coming up from Tasmania. That's going to be fun times. So we'll see what happens there. And is there any car you can mess with? I can do a bit on the GSA, but I haven't got much to do on it. It's just a speedo cable, and I'm waiting for the speedo cable. Very irritating. Top 5 road tests. Is it my favourite or the ranking top 5? Yeah, it could be either. Let me know. Future travel ideas. Well, there's not much point thinking about any travel at the moment, is there? We'll see what happens. Citroen AX based 4x4 pickup, the Mega Jaffa, if that's how you say it. Wow, that's not something I'm aware of, I don't think. I have to check one of those out. Car you regret selling? Well, most of them, to be honest. But sad times. Would you be interested in testing a 1903 Polo? Yeah, probably, but I can't really take on. I've already got a big backlog at the moment of tests, so it's really hard to know what to do. I don't really want to take on and keep adding to that list at the moment, so I'm just going to wait for all this to blow over. Oh, thanks, Mighty Cat Mods. Do I have to spend that €5 on George the Cat? I'll have to go and pay him another visit. Are you both in Zealand and Australia? I was, and now I'm in Wales. And I think the weather's nicer here than New Zealand and Melbourne at the moment, by the sound of things. Would you put a GSA engine in a 2CV? No. It used to be the thing to do, and I've driven a Diane with a GSA engine. That's a 1.3 engine in a car designed for 600cc. Good fun. But it makes them very front heavy, and you're better off putting a BMW motorbike flat twin in these days. Would you agree Intec 6 over the Barra? That's a difficult one. I'm not sure about that. I've got more Barra action to come from Australia. It's not what you're expecting. You've seen that nipper. You haven't seen my nipper for sale. There's an identical nipper for sale, and decent little cars. T3 Synchro. No, I haven't got a T3 Synchro. I've driven a T3 2.1, I think it was, automatic Caravelle. So that's on my list of videos somewhere. Oxford diecast Invercar coming. Yes, I've seen that. Thoughts on running one 21 turbo, never driven one. I've only driven a couple of 21s, 2 litre and 1.7. They're all right. Best Fat 4, no Subaru. Oh no, I've upset Nick now. I like the Subaru engines, of course I do, but I love air-cooled engines more. Is the merch available for the patrons to buy now? The new merch is available for everyone to buy now. If you head to hubnut.org, you can get on and buy the merchandise. The patrons have already had their merchandise shipped if they replied with their size. And there's a handful of people, if you're a patron expecting a Hubnut t-shirt of this design, then yeah, you need to get in touch, because I've tried messaging people several times and still haven't had the size information back. So if you do that, we'll send you your items, but otherwise we're not going to guess at how large you are. That could go horribly wrong and be very insulting. Oh, thank you, Robert Brink. That's very kind of you. More for the Tea Fund. You would love Japan, says Terabyte. I think I would. Why no Ford Sierra test? I just haven't been offered one yet. I would love to drive a Sierra, and that needs to happen. And I don't want to drive an XR 4x4 or anything like that, certainly not a Cosworth. I want to drive a nice bog standard sort of Sierra. A GLX of the later facelift Sierra would be perfect. Daewoo Espero or Vauxhall Cavalier. Well, they're much the same thing, aren't they? But I think the Espero wins for looks. Seaside Garage, how did it go with the big bore kit on your 2CV? Well, I rebuilt the engine in the winter, and was meant to be running it in before Croatia, but obviously circumstances went a bit wrong and I had to rebuild the engine. Thank you, Howard. On the day before we left. I'd say the big bore kit works well, but I still have concerns about carburetor jetting. We think there's some inconsistency with the jet sizes that come with the Burton kit, and I need to get it on a rolling road and check whether that's the case or not. Again, was planning to do that. Can't really do that at the moment, but that is my plan. I want to get either the engine or the entire car on a dyno, so we can see what's going on with the fueling. Oh, thank you, Laird Nigel, for a donation there. Mazda 323F. Yeah, that'll be a later one, 2003, won't it? Really quite bland looking, but I understand they're quite nice to drive, so that sounds very, very Hubnut. Would you do John O'Groats to Land's End? Oh, I've kind of already done it. 12 years ago, I did it in LE the 2CV. Oh, thank you, Martin. And I'm guessing that's a Scandinavian Martin by the look of that name. Thank you, very kind of you. Yeah, it could be a great series, I guess, but yeah, I prefer other road trips. I think John O'Groats to Land's End is just a bit of too much of a cliche. I think both John O'Groats and Land's End don't have an awful lot to recommend them, so I'd rather go to nicer places. Cheers from Australia. Ah, yes, hello, Power Bloke, cooling down there. Do Hubnutters get a free t-shirt? No, the patrons got one because they signed up to a tier that was $10 a month. So that covers the cost of the shirt effectively. It was a way to try and top up my funds while I was in New Zealand, when I was starting to get a bit worried about how much the trip was costing. So that's how that works. It was patrons on a special level. Not all patrons, just patrons on the merchandise tier. Still learning how Patreon works, and to be honest, it's been really difficult to deal with in terms of admin. So I don't think we're going to do pre-orders on stock again. It'll be what you see is what you get. So if it's in the store, you can buy it, and if it isn't, you can't. Be much more simple. Panhard torsion spring valve train versus 2CV engine characteristics and use. I've never driven a Panhard, I don't think. Surely I'd remember if I'd driven a Panhard. Pretty sure I haven't, but I would like to. Panhards make Citroen's engineering look almost plain in places. So yeah, I would like to have a good nose around them. Simon, don't worry about the Patreon thing. We've actually closed off that top tier now. Now the design's already done. So yeah, don't worry, thank you. Did you ever get the airbag light turned off in Myrtle? No, but that's not an MOT failure. It's an MOT advisory, but obviously not ideal to not have working airbags. And I don't think the stream is breaking up. I'm sure someone else would tell me if it was. Come back to New Zealand and see more of Dunedin. Yeah, I would like to visit Dunedin again. I really, really would. Sam Thomas, no, you don't get a free t-shirt. No one gets a free t-shirt. It's just that the patrons prepaid effectively. So that's what's going on with that. But yeah, head to hubnut.org for the merchandise now. East Coast Steam. A few quid for the biscuit fund. Thank you very much. 5,000 miles of the British coastline. Yeah, I would like to, because the coastline varies so much around the UK, as the BBC show Coast demonstrates. Yeah, that would be a nice one to do. Even if we do it in bits. Where'd I meet my girlfriend? Twitter, bizarrely. Strange old world, isn't it? The Allegro channel. Yes, is that the chap who's just got the Allegro channel? There's a lot of new people popping up at the moment, and a lot of interesting stuff going on YouTube. Does your girlfriend like cars? Yeah, she knows a fair bit about them actually, which is good. Pooch versus Tuk versus 2CV. I don't quite understand that question. Or maybe you're on about the Star Pooch engine in the Invacar versus the 2CV. Yeah, very, very different engines, both air-cooled flat twins, but very different ways of doing it. Do you have any cars that aren't shown on YouTube? No. All my cars you've seen on YouTube, and they're all in storage apart from the GSA. Please do another picture video like the Sainsbury's video. Yes, I've got so many pictures. Please do not send me any more pictures at the moment. So many of you sent me so many photos. I've got enough for several videos. And next week sometime I need to get my finger out and actually get those put into a new series of videos. So we'll see what we can do about that. Thank you, Jack. Jack has become a basic hub nutter. He has joined the channel. Why do you hate Fords? I don't hate Fords. I'm wearing a Ford on my chest right now. I've got a hoodie which is color coordinated to the Ford badge. So yeah, I don't hate Fords. I don't rave about Fords. I don't think Fords were necessarily a million times better than anything else that was available at the time. I'm realistic about Fords, and Fords don't tend to have cutting edge engineering. I guess that's my thing. I love cars that are different. Fords tend to be conventional. That's how they make money. They're clever. They know how to make money, and it isn't doing anything radical. You try and keep it fairly simple and conservative, and it works really well for them. Their cars are often very nice to drive, just not particularly interesting. Jack asks, opinion on a Mark 1 Fiesta? Lovely car. That is an example of Ford watching the world, watching front-wheel drive develop, and then coming along with a system that worked very well. Can you weld or willing to give it a try? I think I'm willing to give it a try. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Neither Cossack. Yes, I've driven one off road, but sadly I've never been able to do a video on that. I would like to. Surprised you splashed out for the GSA? Yeah, I'm a bit surprised as well. I think there's a slight bit of compulsive purchase disorder going on there, but I've always wanted one. I bought one specifically to go to the anniversary celebrations in Paris in May, which have obviously been cancelled, so that worked really, really well. But I was keen to actually own a nice example of, frankly, any car, and it is nice to have a nice one. Have you been out on the beach walking? Not for a few days, just been walking around the village. Do you have Cortina virus? Haha, no, but I do have a Corona video to come up. Miller Corner just bought an Alpha GTV. I have driven an Alpha GTV, and I don't know if the owner is still in the chat room. I haven't published a video on that one yet. That got very frustrating because I was stuck driving this GTV V6 in very urban surroundings, so I couldn't give it the beans, and it sounded magnificent. So hopefully that video will come together at some point. Your Rover musings with Matt nearly got me to buy an O Series 820. Oh, Tim, you should have gone for it. It works really well, the O Series in the Rover 800. I was very surprised. I was expecting it to be dismal, and it just wasn't. Can't remember why you decided on Hubnut as your name. Well, it was Classic Hub before that, and I felt that didn't really fit what I was doing, so I changed it to Hubnut. It was just one of those, there we go, comes to your mind things. Get a welder. Yeah. But it's not just get a welder, is it? It's get a welder, and then you need all you decent grinders and clamps, and before you know, you've end up spending a lot of money. But I think it would make a huge difference. Would you go out for a beer if Clarkson asked you? A, I don't think he's very likely to. But B, I probably would, because I think he is an interesting man, and I really admire his writing over the years. He's upset me a lot with some of the things he's said and some of the things he's done, especially around marinas, the bullying of the Marina Owners Club. But at heart, he is a petrol head, and I think it would be an interesting conversation. Have you exhausted your New Zealand and Oz video clips? Not at all. I've just had a few days off just because I've been working flat out and trying to keep up with the comments, the admin, and everything. I just needed a break. Thursday, I spent pretty much the whole day in bed, and I think I needed that because I haven't really rested properly since getting back, even with this lockdown scenario. Are you sad that Ford wants to pull the plug on the Mondeo? Well, only because it means that it'll be replaced with yet another SUV that we don't really need, I guess. Fiat Stilo, never driven a Fiat Stilo, but obviously I drove the Fiat Bravo recently with a 5-cylinder engine. Do love a 5-cylinder engine. Good times. Throw some poo at Clarkson. I know the person who made that comment. It was mentioned that a Marina fan had said, "I will poo in my hand and throw at him," and I know who that was. And it was kind of in jest, and it sadly got taken as seriously. Have you considered a welding course? I've had several people offer to teach me, so that probably works better. Oh, thanks, Spurious Podge. Another donation to the Tercel Fund. Somehow we will get the bits of Tercel back to the UK, hopefully. What else have we got going on here? Thoughts on Mike Brewer and Ed China? I've never been a Wheeler Dealers fan, to be honest. I like Ed China's work, his engineering especially. But yeah, I'm not a fan of telly shows. I tried watching Car SOS the other day, and I like that. It was one of the better car shows, I think, with my mate Fuzz Townsend. I think they do a cracking job, and I know life is just as chaotic in reality as it looks on that show. I know they really are last minute. It's not done for camera, but yeah, I mean, I just find it all too emotional. It was too upsetting to watch. Ooh. Did you end up driving that Mazda 626 wagon? Sadly not. No, there wasn't time. Do you like car movies? I don't tend to. No. I like movies that have cars as incidental characters. I don't like it when it's about the car for some reason. I think that all stems from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang myself. Okay, that's definitely a comment to hide, isn't it? Some people make really nasty comments that I don't really understand, and it's just distracting me from talking to you and getting in the way, really. I don't quite understand these things. Scrap heap challenge? I don't think that exists anymore, does it? I'd like to see a Hub Nut Car Throttle crossover. I need to watch more of Car Throttle's stuff. Would be a pretty good plan, wouldn't it? Do you still chat to Henry Cole? No, I only met Henry Cole once. He just turned up at the station at Devil's Bridge. And my mate who works there said, "You need to get around here with the Invicar now." So I did. So that was amazing. But yeah, our paths haven't really crossed. So we just did that chat for TV and off we go. Oh, wow. That photo, it was a black XM. I thought that was metallic blue. Yeah. Oh, he sadly passed away, but you bought the car. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, I would be interested in a drive when you're done restoring it. Where is that? I mean, it was a left-hand drive car. So was that France? Germany? Let me know. Me and a welder equals danger. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That's one reason I've got rid of the hair, because it's less danger, less flammable. Is the iDriver Classic interview due soon? Yeah, I've done an interview with Steph at iDriver Classic, hoping to get that out Monday. Tomorrow's video is going to be some serious fun I had with tractors in Tasmania. It was a lot of fun. It's a long video, so you may need 2 cups of tea for that one. So we'll see how that. Germany. Oh, excellent. Well, I need to get back to Germany. I need to see more of Germany. Car comparison, review comparison with Furious Driving. It's an option. I haven't quite worked out what we do when we get two people to do a video, because obviously we both want something out of it for our own channel, so we need to have a think about that. What will I be doing after this live stream? Resting mostly, and maybe going for a walk. And I'm hoping on Monday my speedo cable for the GSA will arrive, and that'll all be good. And yeah, I don't have many outtakes, to be honest, of what I do, because you see most of the outtakes, they go in, or I occasionally chuck one in at the end. You'd love to see a Hubnut and car pervert chat. Well, Mr. Pastry, I have very good news, because I think it was on Wednesday I recorded an interview with car pervert, so that'll be coming at some point as well. Any more chats of Furious Driving? Yeah, we would like to do some more. Where is my cuppa? I actually finished it before we started broadcasting, so there you go. Thoughts on Doug DeMuro? Not really my fan, because he doesn't really cover the sort of cars I like. I watch the odd one where he does cover what I like he talked about his Land Rover at some point. I watched that one. That's probably the most recent one of his I've watched. Oh no, he did the Vector W2, didn't he? I watched that one with the absolutely hopeless wipers that seem to hit each other and smash all over the place. Ugh. Do you think the NEC Classic Motor Show will be cancelled? I hope not. I'm seriously hoping by November we'll be back to normal. And rather than the end of season, maybe that'll be the start of season show. Very sad news. Best wishes to Rachel and George from Finley. Oh, thank you very much. I think Rachel may be listening in. So hello, Rachel, if you are listening. She's looking after the merchandise. Thank you, Scott, for that donation to the Tea Fund. That's good. 2-litre Ford Granada be a Hubnut car? Yes. I've never driven a Mark III Granada. I need to do something about it. I've never driven a Mark II either. Oh, thanks, Terabyte. Well, all the best, and off you go. Do you want to drive a Mitsubishi Galant? Yeah, I would love to. Do you wish you had the AU wagon? Yeah, decent things. But to be honest, when you're carting your personal belongings around, like I was in New Zealand, the AU saloon was a much better idea. Are you not using your green mug? The green mug is in storage. So I would like to be using that one, but it's not here. What do you think of Colin Furs? I love what Colin does. I tend to watch every video, and he's an amazing engineer. Amazed he hasn't killed himself. And yeah, chat with Sarah in Tune. Well, I could ask her. Yeah, it might be quite interesting. She does a lot of live shows. So yeah, we'll see. Hoovie's Garage, again, I only watch if he does something I like. I've watched a few of the Wizards videos, his mechanic, and they can be quite interesting, even though he's got a very deadpan delivery style. Festival of the Unexceptional is not cancelled yet, but the way things are going, I think it's going to have to be. Will you have any more large Hubnut polo shirts in stock? Do we do another run of polo shirts? The problem is we're always limited into how many product lines we can carry at once, and how much merchandise we can buy at once as well. So yeah, maybe we can do that at some point in the future, but I will need to discuss it with Rachel, because she is the merchandise queen at the moment. Helped by George, the cat, obviously. And I love the Ford Cargo trucks from the 80s. What do you think of them? Says James French. Yeah, I like those Ford Cargos. My dad used to drive one when I was a child, so I have happy memories of sitting in the passenger seat of one. Bad Obsession Motorsport, who do Project Binky, are also doing Project Escargot, and they're re-engineering a Ford Cargo at the moment. So I think there's going to be a new episode on that before too long. So keep an eye on Bad Obsession Motorsport's channel, and we'll see how that goes. Hubnut umbrellas, something we have thought about. Haven't quite got around how you post them, but maybe we can sell them only at shows. Yeah, we'll see what we can do. Do I like bowler Land Rovers? Yes. How long would the new shirts be available for? Until they sell out, really. Especially the hoodies. The hoodies, really, this is probably going to be a one lot job, and we're fairly limited numbers because the hoodies are quite expensive. If they sell massively, maybe we'll get more, but I suspect these and the t-shirts will be a one run only, unless so many people are desperate for a Ford Fairmont AU on their chest, we sell out like in a couple of days. But We'll see. Binky is also getting there now. You're right, Jack. Hubnut shoes. Oh, come on. Hubnut 70s roll neck. I mean, the possibilities are endless. You'd post an umbrella in a drawing tube. That's a fair point. Yeah. Have I tested a twin carb Allegro? No, but I'm watching. Talking of car pervert, he and Tim Glover dragged out an Allegro SS from a garage fairly recently. So I'll keep an eye on that. Maybe that'll come up once it's been restored. Do you have a secret love of Toyotas? Yes and no, because you may say I liked some of the Toyotas I drove, and I really did, but I had that Toyota Starlet, which completely underwhelmed me. But there's more Starlet content coming in the Australia series after I visited Peter Anderson. Go and check out his channel because he's doing some really incredible things with Starlets at the moment. How much would it have cost to bring Betty to Wales? Probably about £2,000. And oh, thanks, Tim Price. That's very good of you. Have you come across Jeffrey Croker's channel? I think I did while I was out there briefly, but I didn't get to meet up with him, unfortunately. How do you feel about Holden cars? Very sad, mostly, that Holden's come to an end. Got a fair bit of Holden content still to come. Bromley Pageant, no. Sorry, I think Bromley Pageant has already been cancelled this year. Socks and underpants. Does anyone want hubnut pants? Imagine the disappointment. You meet the girl of your dreams. You go back to your room. You remove your trousers, and she just goes, "What?" It could be bad times, couldn't it? We don't want to go there. Don't worry, Darren, about being late. And he was watching Doug DeMuro. We were discussing him fairly recently. Can you explain the photo on your calendar for March, named A Very Pleasant Gift? No, because I can't remember what the photo is. What was it of? Oh, no, I remember. That's the Rover 800. And the Very Pleasant Gift was the little pewter model that Phil, who does my stickers, sent me. So that was the Very Pleasant Gift. So he gave me that little model, which I've still got somewhere. Yeah. Nitro Sylvia's welding videos. I'm way behind. He's pumping them out so quickly. I haven't caught up with Nitro Sylvia. He's restoring several SD1s at once and other things. So his channel is definitely worth checking out. Matt Watson says, as with Community Transport Group, yes, I used to be a trustee for them. I'm no longer involved. Might do some volunteer driving, but like so many, they've shut down operations at the moment. David Williams being hilarious there. Any plans for Foxanne? Foxanne plans completely up in the air. She was meant to be at the NEC last weekend, and we were meant to be making her better. We didn't get to do that. Peugeot 604s have interesting wipers. I've got a really interesting Peugeot 604 pickup. I found a 604 Ute in Tasmania. So that'll be coming out soon. Hubnut knickers. Well, Hubnut knickers, you never know. Who can predict what clothing lines will go down in the future? I suspect not knickers. Hubnut cable ties. Oh, like the Mighty Car Mods cable ties. Maybe we need to go there. Or gaffer tape. We have briefly looked at whether we could do gaffer tape. Yeah, fun times. Any plans, fun, a fellow Invacar owners, any plans to do a road test of a Villiers powered one? I would love to drive a Villiers powered invalid carriage. Because, yeah, like you say, clutch, throttle, brake, steering, all on one tiller. They must be horrific to drive. It's a manual gearbox, 4-speed manual gearbox on those. Must be terrifying to drive. So I'd love to, obviously. Right, okay. Is an MGB GT worthy of a Hubnut sticker? Yes, especially if rubber bumper. But, MGBs are not my favourite cars, but I understand why people like them. It's just a bit too ubiquitous for me. Hubnut sandals, yeah, nice idea, Nick. Most boring road test, probably that Suzuki, I can't remember what it was, Baleno. I drove in the northeast, but that was only because I couldn't get it on the right roads. So it's kind of like driving an F1 car to the shops. It was not ideal. So it ended up being a really boring video. Google the slow motion. from Preston. Oh, okay. And you had the AC invalid car when you first drove. Wow, back with that single-cylinder engine. I mean, they must be horrible to drive, Bill. Correct me if I'm wrong. Must be an absolute challenge. Hub nut 10mm socket. Good idea. Max Rider asks for thoughts on TR7s. They're just a bit meh, aren't they, really? I've driven TR7s with hotted up engines, and they're a lot of fun. TR7s with V8 engines, they're a lot of fun. In standard form, the TR7 really was just a bit underwhelming, really. Lovely soft suspension, but yeah, not perhaps the best. Valeno GSR, that was the one. Thank you, Scottish car enthusiast. I forget my own videos sometimes. There have been so many of them. Yeah, lockdown is ruining plans for absolutely everyone. Crowdfunded to self-fund. I need to assess that project and work out actually what's needed before doing anything on it. So that is kind of the next step. I was hoping to be able to have done that by now, but I'm 50 miles away from the cars and can't get anywhere near them. Very, very disappointing. Views on Vandenpla 1500. That'll be the Allegro-based one. I used to own one very briefly back in the day. Yeah, they are a bit. They're not as good as the 1100 based little Vandenpla Princess, which was really plush inside, lots of wood and leather. There's too much cheapening going on in the Allegro version. What do you think of the Skoda Superb? It's Volkswagen Audi group. It's not my cup of tea. Would you own one? No, because it would bore me to tears. They're very competent cars, but they're just not my cup of tea. They're not interesting enough. I mean, to be honest, that's true of pretty much anything post 2000. Do you still plan on doing it Nipper versus Invercar? I don't think I was ever planning to do Nipper versus Invercar. Nipper versus Matiz is what I was hoping to do, and never rule anything out. But yeah, it's hard to know what to do about anything at the moment. Would you like to go and see the car cave in Wales? Bad news, Dave. The landowner up there has barricaded the place off entirely because too many people were visiting it. It's a remarkable place. Basically, people were just throwing cars into this cave system, and they're just sat there rusting away. Absolutely remarkable. But people don't respect land, and so the landowner finally said, well, I've had enough of this. I've had enough of the littering, the trashing. So he barricaded the place off. Very sad. Skoda Estelle 120 across Spain without a stereo. Oh, wow. Yes. Well done, sir. Has the new girlfriend got a fleet? Do I admit this? She hasn't got a driving license, but she does like cars. So there you go. Thoughts on Tatra cars? I would love to do some videos on Tatra cars. I think they're amazing. Trabant and Wartburgs, I would like to do both of those. And Barkas van maybe, but again, I'm kind of locked down. Have you ever owned a Saab 900? I have, and I didn't like it. Sorry. Just wasn't my cup of tea. Wasn't as quirky as the styling led me to believe it might be. And the gear changes in those 900s is just horrible. Paddock racing the Citroen. It's harder to find a paddock here, unfortunately, and it won't drift as well as the Ford Fairmont did. Driving lessons? Maybe we'll do that. Who knows? Did you see Mitsubishi Colt Sapporo? It wasn't sold as the Colt Sapporo. It's just a Sapporo over there. I've done a video on a Magna, which is kind of the later version, slightly larger Galant. So we got some Mitsubishi content to come. So I've got so many videos left from that series. She would like to get a driving license, but yeah, it hasn't been able to thus far. So we'll see. Most rubbish gearbox. Well, it kind of depends on the change. I've had cars with terrible changes where you just can't find a gear, and I'm struggling to think of one off the top of my head now. Ever been in a serious road accident? No, come close a few times. Although I did have a bit of a decent smash in my Subaru Impreza, which I'd owned for 2 days, and it was a non-turbo. It wasn't even a hot one, and discovered lift-off oversteer. big broadside skid into a tree on the other side of the road, briefly on two wheels sideways, and then landing and facing the wrong way. That's the biggest accident I've ever had, and it was quite scary. Oh, other than the time someone drove into the back of the 2CV and almost totally destroyed it. That wasn't much fun either. Scott Forrest, Jessica says, thank you for liking her drawing of Ellie. Oh yeah, that was on Twitter. Very talented daughter. Very nice drawing. Austin Maxi had a horrid gear change. Well, no, I've driven a Maxi and I don't think it was that bad. I'll tell you what gearboxes I don't like. It's where reverse can be got at quite easily. That I don't like. And I think I've got a Volkswagen Type 3 coming up, and I did have some issues with the gear change on that, which I didn't have with the Splitty I was driving. So that's a slightly unusual situation. Hubnut book of weird and wonderful cars. Maybe. I don't think I'm up to a book. On the wall behind me is a Gustav Klimt The Kiss, which is very nice. And the frocks are still sparkling away under here. Jaguar 420G. I don't like the 420G. I'd rather have a 420. It's slightly smaller. Hope you have your unedited videos backed up. Yeah, it probably is the most valuable thing. I've got 2 hard drives that I always keep separate from each other. Is Micro Ellie still with you? No, she's not. Micro Ellie is also in storage. A tiny little model that Simone bought me 2 years ago now, I think, or was it last year? Anyway, yes, I do still have it. It's not with me. I didn't take it to New Zealand with me because at the moment I'm still effectively living out of the same suitcase that went all around New Zealand and Australia. It's in the back of the GSA, and I just pull a few clothes out of it every now and then. So I'm still enjoying suitcase life. People talking about Talbot Ranchos. There is a car, the Talbot Matra Rancho. I really need to drive one of those. Yeah, blimey. Lancia Fulvias are amazing things, Paul. Fantastic engineering. I've only driven one. I would like to drive more. Pat Moss, the rally driver, she loved Lancia Fulvias. She hated Minis. Said they were a horrible tin box. Did you know that the Hyundai Stella is a Mark V Cortina underneath? Well, yes. If you go and watch my Hyundai Stella twin test video, you will see me discuss how the first Stellas really were Cortinas, but then they changed to a McPherson strut front end, kept the outside looking identical, so the later Stellas aren't Cortina based. Very interesting. Could I build a Tamiya remote control 2CV? I don't have one, but theoretically possible. Oh yeah, worst gearbox. That's a good point. Fiat's Seller Speed, also in Alfa Romeos, but the smart gearboxes are awful. Where are you living now? I'm living with the new lady. These are not my frocks. These are my new lady's frocks. I would definitely like to clarify that point. And I never intended to move in, but circumstances have kind of forced it. And 3 weeks in, it's going really nicely. So I'm a very happy man. Vauxhall Crossland has a horrendous gear change. Oh, blooming SUVs. What a treat to catch a live stream live, says Alvo. What do you think of the wonderful Peugeot 306 or sisterful Citroen ZX? I'd rather have a 306, even with the Triangle of Doom. They're both lovely cars, lovely ride and handling. Just interior build quality, not the best. Review a Leyland Leopard. That'd be fun, but I would rather drive an MCW Metro bus. That is seriously on my hit list. I want to drive an MCW Metro bus and a Daimler Fleetline. I would like to do those very much. How about Matra? Yeah, any Matras. I've done a Matra Morena video. Go and check that out. The XJ40 suited you. I'm not sure whether that's a compliment or not, because that car was awful. What do you think about the Toyota Crown? I've got a Toyota Crown video coming up. The 3rd generation Crown, I think it was. An Australian built example. Hello, Paul, if you're still in the chat. He might have found something better to do by now. But yeah, that video is coming up. Oh, thank you, Steve Zodiac, for becoming a basic hub nutter on the channel. The Renault Fuego was the best. I liked it. Review of Routemaster. Well, the Routemaster, I would like to drive a Routemaster. I'm curious about them, the manual and automatic gearbox. But they didn't have such a huge part of my childhood because I grew up in Birmingham. So it was MCWs and Daimler Fleetlines. and the odd Leyland National here and there, but I've done National. Would you get a 75? I'm not a fan of the 75, but they have a huge following, so they're a pretty good car to get. Yeah, that's probably a sound plan. Not one for me, but I see why people buy 75s. Have you driven a Volvo Ailsa? No, but I have travelled in one Terry bus. So if you search Hubnut buses, I think you'll find the day I visited the Withall Transport Museum, and that included some hot Ailsa action, as I recall. Fancy going my girlfriend's Figaro? Mr. Pastry, it would entirely depend on whether your girlfriend could cope with me not liking the car, because I think Figaros look amazing, wonderful design, but to drive, not so much. They don't do it for me. I think it'd be really good fun to convert a Figaro to electric, because then I think it would live up far more to what it should be. I mean, the looks are so incredible and the drive experience is so Nissan Micra. I do need to do a National with the original Leyland 510 engine. I do need to do a comma 2-stroke. Yes, all those things. Renault 11 Turbo, never driven one, would like to. Static MCW Metro bus. How did the chat with the Queen go? Someone noticed my little April Fool gag that I was going to interview the Queen about her Jaguar X-Type. Yeah, fun times. You already know my feelings, Mr. Pastry. That's good, but it's difficult because I don't like to drive a car and slate it. I think if I did drive a Figaro, I wouldn't be that kind about it. They're just, yeah, not that nice to drive. I'm giving too much away here. I should save it for a future video. Figaro has a turbo sim. It's a 1 litre turbocharged 4, but it somehow manages. It's allied to a compulsory 3-speed, I think, automatic. Bad news indeed. DB5 or E-Type? E-Type every time for me. Did you drive any Mitsuokas? Never driven one. Be quite good fun. Leyland Atlantean, I like, but I grew up in a Daimler Fleetliner area, so my love is the other way. Oh yes, the MCWs with their voice retarders to go when you slow down. It's wonderful. Love it. Audi A2, yeah, I'd like to drive an A2 at some point, but again, I'm not taking bookings at the moment. And we'll remove that one. And you owned an 11 Turbo at 18. Blimey, Phil, that must have been an interesting one. Oh, here is Paul, owner of the Crown. Could do with a turbo. Oh, it was nice. Just say Maserati. Would you ever drive one? I've driven one. I've driven a 3200 GT on a racetrack, and that was good fun. Yep. Have you driven a pre-selector? A couple of times. I've driven a Daimler Ferret and a Daimler Conquest. I would like to do a video on either of those, to be honest. And yeah, very interesting driving, because you move the lever whenever you want and press the clutch pedal, which isn't a clutch, to change gear when you actually need the gear. Very strange things. Do you know if your old Skoda Favourite is still on the road? Yes, I believe the owner Sean has done a video of him MOTing it again this year, so that's good to know. It's always nice when a car goes to a good owner, so that's good times. Oh, thank you, Donna. You've become a basic hubnutter. Hubnut money boxes, not a bad plan. I just prefer throwing my money all over the floor. Donation from Lee there. Thank you very much. Daimler Ferrets sound so good. They do. Not as good as an Elvis Stalwart, though. Whoa. Daimler Ferret, you didn't miss here. I was talking about Daimler Ferrets. I have driven one, but sadly pre-video days. Very strange steering wheel, which pivots in just peculiar ways. But I think we're getting on for an hour, so I think I'm going to wind this one up now. Yeah, thank you for your engagement. Obviously, don't forget the new merchandise is available at hubnut.org. It's fantastic. Betty design. Where else are you going to buy gorgeous clothing with a Ford Fairmont AU on the front? Key rings, we're always looking into key rings. We just haven't found anything that works for us. We are going to try and get there with the key rings at some point. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. enjoy your days. I hope you manage to get out and get a little fresh air at some point, and yeah, savor those moments. It's not fun this lockdown, but yeah, lots of content still to come. Might get back on the daily videos next week. Oh, don't forget Patreon. That's a good plan. Yeah, you can support Hubnut on Patreon, patreon.com/Hubnut if that's an option you enjoy, or you can join the channel on YouTube. You can do donations via the store. You can just buy merchandise through the store. All these details can be found at hubnut.org. So thank you very much. Oh, sorry, Dan, you've only just arrived and I'm heading off. And that's usually my trick, to arrive just in time for the end. But yeah, thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you all in a future video. Farewell. Oh, when am I doing it again? I'm going to try and do it as a weekly thing, I think. Saturday live streams. Does that sound good to you guys? And maybe not always at 10 o'clock in the morning, because I had to rush out of bed this morning. What's that all about? Oh, hello, Czechia. Somewhere I must visit at some point. But yeah, I shall leave you to your days and look forward to seeing you in a future video. We've got, like I say, lots of tractors from Tasmania coming tomorrow. It's a big, long video, about 40 minutes, I think. So have fun and farewell.